I think we can all agree that crypto land has gotten a bit chilly. So I think it's best that we all turn on the fire, put on those hoodies, and prepare for what is next. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Thank you so much for cruising by the video. Let's talk about the crypto winter. Let's jump right into it. It's funny, the AC's running high today, and I'm cold. I have my hoodie on. This is so simple, everyone. This is such simple data. This is data. This is not financial advice. I want to get that out there. This is data that I've been tracking with you for a very long time. Let's jump into this bearish winter that we're talking about. Swing high, all-time high. Here we are. This move approaching the 200-week moving average. And if we just want to visualize what a bearish winter looks like, I mean, this was all-time highs in 2017 to the 200-week moving average that winter with a capitulation right here. Very similar to so far what we're seeing, the extension away from the 20-week moving average right there in green. So this is where we are. We're watching it, and this Bitcoin chart is foundational to crypto markets, foundational to altcoin markets and what's happening, and foundational to Bitcoin. I think we can't ignore is this chart, the traditional markets, and this is the S&P 500 index. Let's throw this out there too. Check this out. Before COVID, but that last consolidation to its own 200-week moving average in traditional markets, the S&P 500 index, this was Bitcoin's bear market low. It is no coincidence. It's because Bitcoin very much was following traditional markets in that move. And so Bitcoin, once again, following traditional markets in that move now. We see there's still room to the downside for S&P 500 index to that 200-week moving average. If it's going to make a move to that area, it's another 10% or so move for traditional markets to continue consolidating. So with that said, there could be continued downtrend for Bitcoin, for crypto markets. Be ready for it. But let's discuss this winter. Let's discuss, well, how long do we need this hoodie on for? And we're going to go over here. I want to take a quick clip from December 9th, 2021. Check this out. For $82 million in cash, average price $57,000. People like Michael Saylor are scooping up Bitcoin at prices where we are right now, let alone if Bitcoin's even entering or even approaching the 618 at around 28,000. I think there's just so much demand. I'm not so sure how long a bear market type of dip would even last. I'm not even so sure it would be nearly as prolonged. So that's the question now. We're in this cold environment, this crypto environment. We don't have to call it a bear market. We can call it whatever we want. But I like the thought of just calling it a kind of this winter, this bearish winter. It's a consolidation. And on the macro charts, it's a higher low on the macro charts, right? And what I mentioned in that video is I'm not even so sure in this area. And by the way, this video, $48,000 Bitcoin was at in December 2021, anticipating the move to the downside. I'm not saying I predicted it. We also talk about upside as well. It's just being prepared for every scenario is the key to success in crypto. And here we are in the scenario. And that scenario is Bitcoin falling to a macro Fibonacci. There's the 618 line. From the macro Fibonacci right around $28,000, and Bitcoin's really on the weekly chart interacting with it now. And what I mentioned in the video is I'm not even sure with all the demand in crypto and all the demand for Bitcoin, how long it's going to last. I'm not so sure it will last as long as it did back here, right after that capitulation. So we've identified, we know there's room to the downside in traditional markets. We know there's room for downside to the 200-week moving average in the lower 20,000 range for Bitcoin. So there's room to the downside still, but with the demand for Bitcoin, how long will that last? I mean, we can go over here and we can chart, let's take our bars pattern, and let's chart from when Bitcoin fell away from this green line, the 20-week moving average, into its own winter, right? This entire area of consolidation, a lot of unknown. And by this point, people are probably really talking about when Bitcoin's hitting, right around $3,000 to $4,000, people talking about $1,000 next, right? And then finally exited. But let's take that range falling away from the 20-week moving average, and then let's take it to where it kind of escaped the 50-week moving average right here. So let's take that. It's kind of the bearish winter right there on the bars pattern, and let's place it from where Bitcoin just kind of basically fell away from the 20-week moving average. In the perfect exact reflection, if Bitcoin did exactly what it did in that last bear market, it would show Bitcoin at, breaking this little area that this capitulation area that it left the 20-week moving average basically in October 2022. And the question of this video is, will that happen sooner or later than that time, right? And with the demand on Bitcoin right now, if Bitcoin does fall, could this be a little bit quicker of a bounce, right? Could it be maybe sometime this summer, Bitcoin just getting maybe a capitulation to 200-week moving average, but a stronger bounce to the upside? I think we've identified if it lasts as long as the last bear market, we see that it could extend to fall of 2022. And listen, maybe the data doesn't repeat itself and it actually lasts longer, right? We need to prepare for that as well. But I really think there's a lot of demand for crypto. I really think in general, traditional markets, they could turn around, right? Very quickly. There's a lot going on in the world with the war, obviously, but even inflation. If inflation in even the next coming weeks, months, starts to really kind of turn around, come down, and there's this positive sentiment coming back into the markets, these markets could rally really quick, right? And this is what it looked like back then. And Bitcoin now, going back to this chart with a more established fundamental value across the world, countries adopting Bitcoin now, this wasn't happening back here, there could be a stronger, quicker bounce out of this mess. And I'm not saying it's going to be in the next week, but I'm just saying over the next few weeks, couple months, if sentiment in general in this world starts to turn positive, if there's a bounce on the traditional markets, this might not last as long as it did in this last bear market. Why I think that's worth noting and why I think it's worth doing this video, right, is the same reason I did this video and same reason I've been charting and tracking these longer term macro targets. It's so that we can be prepared. And in this case, if Bitcoin were to bounce, maybe it bounces off of the 618 that it's at right now in this Fibonacci, or it comes down to the 20-week moving average in the lower 20,000s. The point is, we should prepare for it not lasting perhaps as long as it did back here. This, if you look at that, very sideways looking consolidation of Bitcoin for months, wow, what an opportunity for accumulation. And so it begs the question, how long, starting now, starting today, will this opportunity of accumulation last? How long will that last for? And so it's a certain data point that we all have to consider, because as we're all trying to accumulate crypto, and this obviously is a Bitcoin chart, but this really applies to the grand landscape of crypto. As we're all trying to accumulate, we take this data into consideration because it's like, how much time do we have to accumulate, right? And so we have to take that and make our decisions, mix it into our plan, the possibility that it might not last as long as it did last time. So we're really on track in terms of Bitcoin consolidation. It's been a mess. The Luna situation, that's been a mess. There's so much unknown in the world, but wow, the data on the screen is so on point. There's absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. This is an extremely commonplace chart for Bitcoin. And this is a chart, I charted this Bitcoin chart. There's so much going on, but I charted it back in the bottom of 2018. And it's revisiting the Fibonacci that we've seen it do time and time again in previous cycles. So it's where we are. And now that we're in the winter, it's a question of how long will we be here? And I think the ultimate answer to that is nobody knows. I'm a YouTuber tracking the data with you, but what I do know is I think there's a very strong possibility it doesn't last that long as it did back then. And I think that's very much worth noting. Even real quick, if you actually look at how long it lasted from this swing low to kind of a swing high, 301 days, that was all the way back in 2015. This lasted, the last bear market, 182 days, that bearish winter, I should say. And so the question is, will that get cut in half again? And will this only last maybe 90 to 100 days? Could it be this summer where Bitcoin's making a turnaround? Is that as much time as we have? So these are just things I'm thinking through. I wanted to just propose that data to you so that you can also kind of think about these things as well. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. But here we are. We're in the winter. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's certainly not a fun thing, but we'll get through it, I think, as we always have. But either way, everyone, please be very careful. This is risky. Crypto is risky. I always say crypto could fail. I mean, this chart could completely collapse, right? So take that into consideration as well and be very careful out there. So I appreciate all of you cruising by. Hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.